the potential is there. Here again is our, that same average pasture I showed you before. Now I want to pull out a couple of individual farms and show you how they did over the course of the year, just so that we can look at a couple of concepts. This was the McCormick farm, and it was one of our lower alkaloid farms for most of the season. And that's all relative, of course. But remember all those dots that were on there? This is one that tracked a little bit lower. What do you think might be responsible for this spike here in early to mid-fall? What might David have done back here in August to cause that kind of a spike? Yeah. Is that right, David?
Of course, we didn't have any moisture all summer either.
We did not have any moisture all summer. That brings up a whole other point. Drought, plants not doing well. Those toxin levels are going to be kind of maintained at a lower level. But so what we saw here is a rapid increase in alkaloid content because that plant experienced a big jump in growth. Now we look at another farm that tracked a good bit higher throughout the season. It did kind of show the opposite of what the McCormick farm did here in fall. But it started out very high and stayed very high and was one of the highest that we saw. And what do you think he might have done back here in spring that might have caused that? Not poultry. Someone said poultry. They put nitrogen on. And that's... So there's many factors, and I just pulled out those couple of farms because those were the two cases where nitrogen was used. So I think it's pretty evident that when that plant's doing well, you can see increased alkaloid levels. A visual representation of this, or example, this is a field that is probably 5 to 10 minutes from here. This is one that was in our study, and we took half the field, and the farmer bush hogged that one half about May 15th when the seed heads were just starting to be visible, and that knocked all the seed heads out, and we got this great leafy green vegetative regrowth. We did it early enough that we caught some rain, and I was thinking, this is great. The nutrient content of this was much higher, and I'm waiting to get those alkaloid results back. I'm like, this is going to be great. This is what most of our recommendations tell us, is to keep things vegetative. But actually, the opposite was true. So this was at 3,300 parts per billion. This old mature portion of the pasture was 14 parts per billion. Now you could argue, well, yeah, there's seed heads here, and the animals can come through and nip those off, and you possibly see much higher toxicity than with this portion of the pasture. But that's not the real point. The point is that even with, it's still very high. 3,300, it's very high. When compared to that 500 threshold level. So kind of the second conclusion is that practices that result in better grass growth can lead to increased toxicity, which is awful. That's a paradox. What do you do?